Warning, what you're about to hear may be disturbing to some viewers. Welcome to Unfostered.
Kind of rubbery feeling, stretchy one.
Yeah, as long as it's stretchy,
Mm-hmm.
I can use that. Because the other thread's okay. It just started unraveling and it pissed me off. I had a crumb on me.
Mama, tell them the intro that you wanted to do for us. Tell them the
Hi, my name is Mary.
no,
What
the
did I
intro
say?
that you said, the one that you was practicing at that.
Oh, okay. Like, yo, what's up?
I was like, no, absolutely. I was like, no, we're not
Okay.
doing that one.
Okay.
Man, this is crazy, right?
It's
surreal that we're in this space with each other like
you know,
this. Alrighty, y'all, this is Unfostered. No. That's not how it starts anymore.
Okay.
That's the one we decided on.
This is, you are doing
Oh,
a
no, okay, okay.
podcast from,
Uh-huh.
what's the name of the
We're
company?
just gonna do it organically.
Okay.
Like, let's just scratch those.
All right.
Let's just do it.
Cool.
Alrighty, y'all. This is Unfostered. I'm Marie. This is my mama, Holiday. Have to warn you all, this podcast is not going to be your normal kind of podcast. We do not have the normal kind of, well, I don't guess we have a normal mother-daughter
Daughter
relationship.
No.
Like we didn't have the opportunity to have that. So this is just going to be real stories from the heart, from the belly. And I'm doing it with my mama. And if this is the same mama from the book, and if you haven't read the book,
Get it.
read the book. And they need to read the book anyway, because your book will be coming out
Real
next
soon.
year. Yeah. So, oh, Lord. So what are we talking about? We are talking about hard topics, child abuse, neglect, the foster care system. We can't expect for it to change if nobody knows that it's a problem in it, right?
Right.
So this episode, we're going to start pretty light and just talk about the dynamic between us. We want you all to get to know your host and your co-host. And so let's just start with that. So what is a Holiday?
Hi, Holiday. Mary, actually. I'm the co-host. And from the time I can remember, someone introduced me into drugs.
Oh, straight to it.
Right.
Okay.
Somebody introduced me into drugs. And
It's okay to say who introduced you to drugs?
my daughter's father
My daddy.
actually introduced me into the drug scene. My girls was my life. I've always wanted something that I could love for myself. And being in the drug scene, I didn't love them at all. I started loving the drug itself. I was a crack cocaine user. And to get them into foster care, it really tore up my world. I really got deep into drugs after I lost them. And for a while, I actually thought that you girls were in a place where, you know, you'd be cared for, loved, unknowingly that it was a brutal situation. But me, myself, I was like, okay, well, now I got time enough to be gone and I don't have to worry about, you know, this, that, and the other with the girls.
Wait, so when we went to foster care, you thought that we were in a good home.
Right.
And so that made you feel like you were free to do whatever because we were safe.
Right.
And you didn't know how unsafe we really were
No, I
because
didn't.
we were not safe.
No. I mean, even though I was in the drugs, as deep as I was, I still wanted my girls. I wished I had them by me, but I had been to rehab after rehab after rehab. All the times that I was there, though, I did think of my girls. That's why I always went to the visitations to see my children, but we just didn't have that. I just didn't have that love for my children the way that a mother should have had her love, because I wasn't shown that love. I was in foster care myself, but I was with a relative.
So yours was actually kinship placement. So
Right.
not foster care where you went with strangers. You were placed with your aunt.
Right.
And that's the whole, that's why I'm saying this book is going to be crazy, because for a long time you thought your aunt was your mom.
Mother.
And you would see your mom and didn't even know that your mom was your mom and your siblings were your siblings.
No, actually, I didn't know that I had any sisters and brothers. I actually thought my mom was just a relative. I didn't know she was actually my real mother. Mm-hmm. You know, I always thought, I didn't really know where I came from. I always thought my auntie was my mother.
Yeah.
A long time before I found out that she was my mother. But I always knew that my great-grandmother was her mother. You know, but I just thought, I didn't realize that, you know, when Dolly said that she had me, which was my auntie's name, when Dolly said that she had me, you know, I thought that she birthed me naturally.
Yeah.
You know,
And
I didn't know she took me as I was a baby. I didn't
that's
know that.
crazy though, because that explains so much, because I remember you and I having a conversation, and I've been very involved in my kiddos' lives because
Right.
I was not wanting them to end up the same way that I was, or going through the same things that I went through. And so I remember having a conversation with you, and I'm like, Mama, this is how you're supposed to do this. Like, why don't you do this like mothers do, or why don't you do this like mothers do? And you were very honest in that moment, and it changed my perspective, because you were like, I don't know how.
I didn't.
And you were like, I see you interacting with your kids, and I didn't interact with you all like that because I don't know how. And that changed how I interacted with you. Because, see, what you all should know is that when we went into foster care, Mama, you were coming to the visits, but you were still
Highly
active in your
addicted.
addiction. And I don't know how they didn't know, because you had to do drops. Like, how did
Because for the simple fact, when I had to do drops, and this might sound a little strange, but when I had to do drops, I actually had a friend who would urine for me, and what I did was insert her urine inside of me. And when it came time for me to do the drop, the outside of the little container that I used was covered with plastic. So when I went into a stall to urinate, I would poke a hole and urinate in the cup. It would be her urine, not mine. And she was clean. And, other than that, my urine, yes, was dirty.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time, I remember us going to a visitation, and I was looking at you, and I didn't want to tell Chris, who's my little sister, and I didn't want to tell her that I thought you were high, but I was looking at you, and I was like, I think Mama is high. Like, I don't know how she passed the urine test and was able to come to the visit, because I'm looking, and you were high right then. Ma, I have to ask you, do you remember when we used to go to the visitations, and they used to have us in that room, and you would be having us steal the food out the refrigerator?
That I don't remember.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, I don't remember that. And I am so sorry that I did that.
I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, we talked about that. At this point, it is what it is, and we're on a journey. And I want you all to know that sometimes you'll hear me say Mama, and a lot of times you'll hear me say Holiday, and she's comfortable
I'm comfortable with it
me
now.
saying Holiday. Yeah.
Now, at first, when I finally got my girls really back into my life, they were teenagers, and they were almost grown. They were out of the system, of course, because of their ages. But for them to call me Mama, I felt so out of place.
Yeah.
Because even though I had them back, I was still in my addiction.
Yeah.
But then for them to call me Mama and did Mama this, or some of the things that I did, Mama, it didn't feel right to me.
It didn't feel right to us either. It was hard to say Mama and not feel the connection. Like, it was hard to be like, I don't know. And now I hear Chris call you Mommy sometimes. I'd never call you Mommy. I say Ma or Holiday or Mama, but I don't say, oh, Mommy. Like, that's odd to me. You know what I realized? We were in church, I think around Mother's Day, and you leaned over and you were hugging Al and the kids, and you hugged me, and when you hugged me, you went, oh, and I went, oh, like, what are you doing? Like, I almost went like, what was that? And so I realized, like, yeah, we don't have that traditional thing, but we're comfortable in the space we're in now. Like, I'm comfortable with saying, I love you now. And
At one time,
oh my
to
goodness.
say that it wasn't,
Yeah.
I just couldn't catch it. Like I said,
Why
I
did
grew
get
up.
emotional, and I said that I was.
Okay, but I grew up without any of that hugging comfort love. I grew up in a home where I was told that you're ugly, everybody hates you, nobody wants you, your mother don't want you. I don't know why you had kids. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to raise them. They're not going to love you. You're not going to love yourself. And it took me a very long time to first love myself before I could love anybody.
Do you
anybody
think
or
that
anything.
because so there was 3 of us initially, your 3 girls,
Right.
Jamie,
My oldest
Jamie,
daughter who passed
me,
away in an
who's the
accident.
middle, and then Chris.
Right.
And I really feel like Because Jamie repeated the cycle. Like, Jamie fell into drug addiction and stuff like that. And she died. I really feel like she died a victim. Like, she never got a chance to
Even
come out of that.
though, like you said, Jamie fell into the addiction too. But see, at times, Jamie would call me and wouldn't, discuss it with her sisters. Jamie would call me and say, Mom, how did you come out? What did you do? How can I do it? How can I come out? I don't want to be like this anymore. I want to do something else. And I would always tell her, Jamie, you have to make it in your mind. You have to put it in your mind and say that, no, I don't want this anymore. I'm tired.
Now, can we be transparent? No. Now, first, I want to touch on the fact that I appreciate God for allowing me to not fall into the trap too. Because I mean, that's what was projected for my life, is that I would have kids by a bunch of different men because I was in a foster care system. I would be on drugs. I would lose the kids, and none of that happened by the grace of God. And so I have to give him big props for that. And Jamie didn't get a chance to do that. And I don't think that you and Jamie ever got to get really close. Like, I never got to see that. She never said, oh, I can't wait to see mommy or mama or, anything like that. It was never like that with her.
No.
And I know that was hard.
Right. Jamie being my firstborn, I still yet not knowing the mother scene of the love and hug and talkings, because a lot of times I would tell Jamie, shut up, leave me alone. I don't want to hear it, and for her to grow up like she did, she grew up real rough.
Yeah, Jamie had it hard.
Yeah. Jamie was a really mean little girl.
Well, but she almost had to be, because Jamie was our mother. She was me and Chris. She was mothering me and Chris.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, she had her first baby when she was
16.
No.
14.
No. Jamie was 13 when she had Elissa. She was 13.
She was very young.
And so she went straight from taking care of us, because you would be gone for days at a time.
Right.
And so she went straight from taking care of us to being a mother herself, and she never had the opportunity to be a little girl. And so I'm grateful that God allowed me to not have quite the same experience, but there are so many people who, if they don't learn to come out of it, will end up dying a victim too. And so that's what we need to not have. Like, we need to be talking about this. We need to make people comfortable with telling their stories, because that's how you change the problem, is that you're comfortable with that. So I want to tell you, with all of that pain, I appreciate you for coming and being so transparent. Like, we had a conversation and I was like, we're not going to rehearse a whole bunch of stuff. We need to just let it be organic, because there are other people, who are going through the same thing. And we need to keep it a buck, and that so let me just tell y'all, when I moved to Texas, my mom was still in Chicago, heavy in her addiction. And so I moved her to Texas, and I had this whole breakdown moment, and I was like, I wanted to save her. I was like, I just want to save you, and da-da-da-da. And it didn't work out that way. Like, she got here and she got into even heavier drugs, because we found out that they were actually lacing your crack with ice. And I was like, honestly, I was like, a crackhead is already addicted. Like, you don't have to make a crackhead won't crack. Like, you know what I mean? And so I was like, golly, why would they do that? And I saw you, like, be very violent with police officers. Do you remember that?
Yeah, when I hit the police.
Yeah, and they hit you to the ground,
yeah.
too. But after that, I was like, yeah, no, we're not doing this. And so I had a talk with my younger sister, Chris, and I was like, Mama had put me over her medical paperwork, and I was like, lock her up. So she actually ended up overdosing on some
Dilantin.
Yeah, some pills for her epilepsy. And she was in a coma for about a week. And I told the doctors, hey, if you guys let her leave, then you'll be responsible if she tries to kill herself, because she's trying to kill herself. So they put her on a mandatory watch and didn't let her leave. And then after that, I signed her in again to go to the mental institution. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And
that was great.
She
That
called
scared
me.
That scared me to go to that mental institution to see. I mean, I know that I was in a very psychotic episode in myself, But to see those people, taking medicines and things that they were doing, I'm like, this is psychotic. But to see those people going through what they went through, it scared me. That started scaring me straight.
Listen,
Started
she
to.
called. You called. Do you remember you called me and you were like, I need y'all to get me out of here. And I was like, yeah, no. And you were like, but these people are crazy for real.
Yeah.
I ain't crazy. And I was like, yeah, no, you're staying in there. And literally when she ran out of time to be in the facility, I signed you into
A rehabilitation.
rehab. And the initial stay was like 45 days or something like that. And it was inpatient, like she couldn't leave. And she tried to leave there too. And I said, nope, absolutely not.
A couple
You're
of
not
times
going.
I tried to leave.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
I
they
did.
had that in the middle of nowhere. They were
Yeah.
like,
If you'd have left, they call it the ranch. It's in Buda, Texas. And if you left that place, there was nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Nowhere. Because the highway was like maybe 8 or 9 miles away.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
Yeah.
Just straight grassland.
But you know what? After the mandatory stay, you signed yourself in for more time.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay.
Right.
We working with fish, we cooking with fish grease now. Like now she's clean enough so that we could actually, like we came and visited you and I could see that you had gained some weight. Your face had cleared up. Like me and my little sister were saying earlier, like, oh, mom's actually pretty now.
Yeah.
There was a time where
I was really ugly.
well,
Yeah, I'm telling you, I was really ugly.
was just
from the drug itself, it had turned my skin dark. I was full of all kinds of acne.
It was
splotches.
sores.
And I was a lot thinner than I am. Too
like
thin.
not a healthy thing.
But I was just drawn up.
Yeah, and you
Really
said
messed up.
because I was like, man, because I've never had acne for real, and I was like, dang, I don't know why mom has so much acne. Like my dad has great skin, but I was like, maybe I got my skin from my dad. But your skin is good, and you told me that the spots on your skin weren't acne.
No, they're actually, when I was heavy in my addiction using crack, the way you use crack, it was popping. When you put the fire to it, it popped. And when it was popped, what it was doing, it was burning my face.
That's crazy.
And I didn't realize it. I just knew it was popping. I knew it was popping, but your body be so froze because of the cocaine, that you don't realize that it's popping. The popping is actually,
Burning your skin.
burning your skin. Whether it's in a rock form or powdered form, it's still burning your skin.
Would you have cared enough to stop while you were in your addiction?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but I threaten mama all the time. I will tell you in a minute. Like we're comfortable enough because this was how many years ago? How many years have you been clean?
I've been clean now 13.
So this was 13 years ago, and good job, Mom. I really am really proud of you. When I think about that, I don't want to get emotional again because I didn't plan on being emotional.
The hardest part of it was you don't think about you don't all you want to do is just find a dime or even a penny, take something. Me myself, I took videotapes that were given to me through a friend to sell them just to get a hit of crack. But the hardest part is when you stop. For that 30 days that I was in that, from the time that I was in the insane asylum to the time to the time that I was in the rehab, gave me time enough to think.
Yeah.
Because then my mind was not, as they say, full of smoke. I started to feel myself.
Yeah.
I started learning myself. And you have to learn yourself before you can do anything for anybody. You can't help your children. You can't help yourself, others around you, nobody. You have to have the strength to do it by yourself. And they say it's a selfish program, but no, it's not. You got the counselors there, they're talking to you, and they're they're talking to me, and I'm hearing, but I'm looking at their mouth move, but I'm not listening. But eventually, as time grew on, I eventually started listening to them because now my ears are open. I know one thing, before my dad passed away, he always told me to listen with your eyes and see with your ears. And I took on that, being in that environment that I was in. The only thing, like I said, the only thing I wanted to do was I wanted to get high because I wanted everything to stop around me. I wanted to stop feeling the pain that I was in. I wanted to stop feeling that the girls were in the foster home. I wanted to stop, just stop the world. That's what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And you can't. you think you can, but you can't. And then when, like you said, I tried to OD myself, I just got sick and tired of just me. I couldn't even look at me in the mirror. To look at me in the mirror now, it's okay.
Because you stay in the mirror now.
Yeah, okay. But but back then, to look in the mirror, I actually saw a monster.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
When I looked at you while you were in your addiction, I saw a monster. I literally, no joke. And so I believe that there are some spiritual ties when it comes to addiction. I believe that it's not just physical, it's not just worldly, it's definitely entities. And there was a time where, like, the scariest thing happened. Do you remember when we were in that house in Indiana? And
I remember when you were living in Indiana.
okay, and so you were possessed. Like, so me, Chris, Al, who's my husband, Rashonda, who's my adopted sister, we were all in the house. Now, on this day, early in the day, I stopped by my friend Toya's house to give her an invitation to something. And she wasn't there. Her mom was there. And so I'm talking to, her mom's name was Shirley. So I'm talking to Miss Shirley, and she's telling me about all of these things that I have to overcome. And she was like, and there'll come a point where, you're really going to have to pray, and I'll pray with you, and da-da-da-da. And she's prophesying, and she's doing all of these things. And I was like, oh, it felt good to talk to her because I love me some Miss Shirley. But I didn't really know what she was talking about. So I give her the invitation. I tell her, tell Toya to call me later or whatever. And then I pick you up because remember in Indiana, I used to pick you up sometimes for you to spend time. And you were faded, like every time we picked you up, like visibly faded. You would sleep the whole first day I picked you up. So I pick you up and you were just really off this day, like really off, really weird, moving weird. And I'm sitting in a room and we had the walls were like this mauve pink kind of color. And so I'm sitting in a room and it looks like a shadow is moving across the wall. You were in the front room. I was in my bedroom. All of the kids were asleep and they had their own rooms, but they would all gather up in one room and like sleep with each other. So that's what's happening. Like all four of the kiddos were in the room sleep. And I'm in my room and I see that shadow thing and I'm like, what the heck was that? And so I leave out and I go in the kitchen and the walls in the kitchen were white, but they look cloudy. They look gray or something. And so I'm like, I'm tripping. Like something is wrong. So I call Chris and Chris was in the basement. And I call Chris and when I call her, she's like, Marie. I'm like, what's wrong? She was like, there's something weird going on. Like, and so she comes up the stairs and Rashonda comes up with her. And I'm like, yeah, there's something weird going on. Like I thought it was just me. And the whole time, again, you're still sitting in the front. You're not moving. And Al came in and he was like, it feels weird in here. And I was like, yeah. And so we all talking about it and you're still not moving. And so we start praying. Like we're going from room to room, just praying and praying and praying. And somehow or another, we end up in the kids' room. And I called Toya's mama. I called Miss Shirley on the phone. And I'm like, whatever you was saying, like, I think something's going down right now. Like, I need you to pray with me on the phone. And she was like, yeah. And she knew. She was like, don't worry about it. I know. Put me on speakerphone. Let's pray. So I put the phone on speakerphone. And again, we're standing in the kids' room. And me, Al, Rashonda, and Chris get hands and we all start praying. This whole time, and Miss Shirley is praying loudly, and we're praying loudly. The whole time the kids never wake up. We're praying hard. Then all of a sudden I feel something bump me. Like we're praying with our hands together, our heads down, eyes closed. I feel something bump me. And I open my eyes and you're in the middle. Like you're in the circle. And I was like, first of all, how did she get right here? So I'm thinking maybe you ducked down under our arms, you got right there, but I didn't know because my eyes were closed. And I look and you bump into Al and he kind of opened his eyes too, but he closed his eyes back, put his head back down, finished praying. And you bumped into Chris, same thing. So we all just start praying harder and then you bump into Rashonda. And as soon as you did, I kid you not, me and the kids and Al was talking about this, but Rashonda fell, bam, flat to the floor. And as soon as she fell, so if we're all in a circle this way, actually she fell like this, like she fell on her back. And as soon as she falls, you exit the circle, like kind of step over her and step back out the room and go back to the front. Al leans down and he starts praying over Rashonda. I'm getting chill bumps. her body literally starts lifting up and down off the ground. Like, and she started out slow and then she's going fast, like lifting up and down off the ground. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, and I don't get scared in this moment. I feel empowered. I'm like, no. And I start calling those things out by his name and rebuking it in the name of Jesus. And I'm praying and I'm going from room to room at this point. Al is going from room to room. Rashonda has recovered, but she can't get up off the floor. She's just kind of leaning against the wall now. But everybody is going from room to room, and we can see like whatever it was on the shadow, on the walls kind of dissipating, and they were all going into one room. And what room do you think that was?
The front.
The front room. The kids still at this point had never woke up. They never woke up. So all of the shadows are going into one room in the front, and you're sitting in the front. And I say, like, Al, everybody is in other rooms praying and stuff. And I said, Al, like, I think I know where it's coming from. But he wasn't paying me any attention. So now all of a sudden the shadows, everything is gone. But you're sitting like, no joke, like this.
That's scary.
And I was like, Ma. He was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, now, be easy now. But I decided that the next day I'm finna drop her on off back at home because so the next morning I get up earlier than everybody else and I go in the front. You're in the front. I'm sitting on the floor watching TV. I'm waiting for everybody else to get up so we can go ahead, eat some breakfast, and take you on back to your house. But I'm sitting in front of the TV, and while I'm watching the TV, you're sitting behind me on the couch. So the TV is here, it's me, and then you're sitting behind me. And I feel this eerie feeling, and I turn and look, and you're just sitting and staring at me like blank face, look dark around your eyes. And I was like, Ma, you say nothing. I'm like, Ma, you still ain't saying nothing. And I turned around and I said, whatever you are going to leave her in the name of Jesus. And I'm telling you right now, count your days. You will not remain here. And you're what's causing the addiction. And God will deliver her. So do what you need to do now because you're going to let her go. And I'm proclaiming it in the name of Jesus and stuff. And you said, yeah, okay. And we're back to watching the TV. And I said, all right. I got up. I get Al up. I'm like, you know what? We can grab some breakfast on the way. Let's go ahead and drop Mama back off. And I could tell that you were like antsy at that point. Like after that, you were a little antsy at that point. And I'm assuming that, you were probably jonesing a little bit. But I really, from that point, was like, it's more than just physical when it comes to drugs. It's spiritual. Mm-hmm. And I could see that thing in her. And when we moved to Texas, I proclaimed in front of the church and everybody, like, my mom will be saved. She'll go to church. She's going to be clean. And I
mean, like, in the time that, even though y'all were miles away, mm-hmm. but in the time that during my addiction, some things, like I said, I can't remember, some things I can't. But during the time, I did some unmentionable things that I feel bad about now, mm-hmm. That I'm clean. But as far as sleeping on the streets, being with other people, doing things you don't want to do, stealing, lying, taking, you do all of that, and you it's like you can't control yourself not to. Like, I remember an incident where my auntie was going to pay the rent for her house, and I stole $100. And even though y'all were little girls, you were still with me, y'all were little girls, and I found an excuse just to get outside. You actually said, no, Mama, don't go. Don't leave us here. Don't leave us here. You was actually crying, don't leave us here, don't leave us here. Chris it didn't make no difference. But, and Jamie wasn't there. But you was actually, don't leave. I know where you're going, Ma, don't leave. And I kind of like, I never touched my girl, but I like, Marie, just go somewhere and sit down, be quiet. Go somewhere and sit down. That was my thing of telling y'all to go somewhere, sit down, be quiet, leave me alone. Mm-hmm. Because at the time I was just thinking, oh, I got this $100. I'm finna go get something, But there were times that I had to sleep outside, and I did. I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have anybody to talk to. So everybody that I knew, I thought they were drug addicts, which they were. Yeah. Everybody I knew were drug addicts. And I would call and I would beg and I would ask, can I just spend the night? I don't have anywhere to go. I can just spend the night. I don't even want to eat. Just let me spend the night. It was a very tragic thing. It's nothing like, and you know how it feels, how to go without food. Mm-hmm. I wasn't even thinking about food. I didn't even want food. I just wanted to get high. Yeah. I didn't care. You know, that's the thing. You don't care anymore. You don't care about nothing and nobody.
Do you think that that ties into me thinking that it's more than just physical, that it's spiritual, because you feel like you were doing things that you didn't even want to do and you knew were wrong and you just couldn't?
I couldn't control it.
That's crazy.
You know, like there was a spot that we used to go get high at, yes, and everybody there was getting high, and there's the guy there that was giving out the drugs. He was like, I need you to be with her. I did. I need you to do this, that, and that, and that. I did. I went to...
You mean sexually?
Sexually. I went to go deliver some drugs for him one time. He said, take this to such and such house, and when you get back, I got something for you. I'm going to sit this rock to the side, you can do it. So you're not thinking that, okay, I'm finna go. I just want to do what I got to do and just come back. Or you wanted to do whatever you had to do sexually, and you knew you was going to get high. You didn't care. When I got to the person's house to deliver the drugs, a dog attacked me. It bit me in the knee. But it was so strange, I didn't feel it. I felt the dog, biting at me, but I still delivered the drugs, got the money, brought it back to him, and he still gave me my drug. I'm bleeding down the leg. He asked me, what happened to you? I said, I got attacked by a dog. Oh, you be all right. Just put a little peroxide on and some alcohol. You be all right. And I was.
And so you didn't go to the hospital?
Nope. I didn't go anywhere. She came to the house to ask was I all right, everything. You okay? You all right? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go get it. Let's go get it down. We'll be all right. It was fine with me. A dime was $10, $20, $50 and up. That's all I wanted. I could have $5.99. I got to get this other part. So you would do what you had to do just to get the other part.
Wow. The pull that it had on you.
Pull.
That's crazy. I've never in my life felt that, and I never want to. No. I remember one time you were like, the first high is what you chase for forever. So you never get high like your first high, and you stay chasing that first high. Right. And so
you want to stay in that. You want to stay high. You want to stay in that feeling, and the feeling that you get when you get high, it's kind of undescribable feeling. It's a feeling where you're in this world, and everything around you is blocked out. It's just you there.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
That sounds
It's just
terrifying.
you there. And you want to keep this feeling of just you there, and you don't care about anybody around you. I mean, I've had numerous of people tell me that, you can do this, you can do that, you can get out of it, you can do this. Okay, yeah, okay, just to shut you up. Can you can I borrow $1, $2, 50 cents?
Yes, you stole money from, I remember we used to try to hide, like if we got money from Dolly for our birthday or something like that, we would try to hide it. And there were times where I woke up and you'll be to found the money, and I'd be so disappointed. Like, dang. And
I didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care about the feeling that it would have upon anybody else. I just wanted that money so that I could go get high. I didn't care.
But how do you feel now? Clean, sober?
I feel good about myself. Actually, I'm still in that era where my girls are still my life. Even though, unfortunately, I lost one, but my girls are still my life. I love me. I'm able to look in the mirror. You know that. But I'm able to look in the mirror. I'm able to, because I live by myself. So every day when I wake up, and they say every day is a struggle. Yes, every day is still a struggle because I got money, cards, car, home. I mean, I could take what I have and I could go down the street. I can make a phone call and I could do it. But you get kind of scared too once you really, like I've been 13 years clean, and it took a while for my kids to trust me. But when you get clean, it's an experience. It's an unusual experience. You feel
a good feeling.
A good feeling, yeah.
I mean, and you went from being homeless and I mean, you even said that you slept with women and you're not even homosexual. So you went from homeless and hungry and, in your own space because the drug had you very selfish.
Dirty, filthy, funky.
Yeah.
You don't care. I mean, you did.
Yeah.
You did. You don't care. Your hair ain't combed. You ain't had a bath in a couple of days. You ain't thinking about you smelling. You ain't thinking about that.
Yeah.
You could care less.
That's crazy. I remember there was a song I don't know if you remember it in the 90s. It was like, your mama's on crack rock.
I
Yes.
hated that song.
Listen, that song came out, and I remember literally fighting a girl at school because she was singing the song. And she probably didn't even know anything about you, but she was singing the song. And I was like, you shouldn't be singing that song. And she was like, yo, mama, boom, bopped her right upside the head. Like, just stop. So it's good for people to be able to see where you are now, because you went from that selfish drug and being by yourself to having a whole support system. Yeah.
It's really good. I mean, even if you don't have a support system, it's good to come out of it. There is a way to come out. You can't just, you're not just stuck. Some people are like just stuck there. You're not stuck there.
There's
you
life
you
after
want to
rehab.
stay right. You want to stay. It's not even. It didn't even have nothing to do with rehab. It's just the person themselves. You have to. You yourself have to want to. If you don't want to, you're gonna stay there. And if you stay there, all kinds of bad things are gonna happen. And I'm glad that I did not want to stay there.
Amen.
It didn't have anything to do with my children. It had to do with me. I had the strength enough to just say no. And the first time I said no freaked me out. But I had the strength enough to stop and say no, not do this, not do that. Yeah. You're going to get it anyway.
And you didn't want me locking you back up again, because I told you. No. I told you that was what it was going to be.
You know what? Even with the intent of you locking me up, I didn't care. Lock me up. I don't care. That's how I felt. But now, if you lock me up, I'm going to have a fit.
Well, it's good that we got a chance to kind of get the opportunity for people to know us a little bit more, and we'll be fully transparent with everything.
Right.
And we'll start our segments where we're actually pulling people in and we're having those conversations with them, the tough conversations that are necessary.
Right. Because the situation is deep.
Yeah. And so we want to say thank you to Dawa Studios for the production of Unfostered, and we will see you all again very, very soon. We'll be back next week with the guests and conversations and topics and all of the good stuff. We love you all.
And me too.
Yes. She'll be with me too. Thank you all so much for tuning in. God bless you. Bye.